Great question today from Heidi D in my community, and I'm just going to go ahead and record my response because I think this can help more people who might be having the same type of question. So basically, Heidi's question is around how to have a free area of your heartbeat community and a paid area. How does that work? How do you make sure that they only see what they're supposed to see? All right, so I want to start off by explaining the difference between user roles and user groups and how that works. And I'm just inside my demo community. I use this community as sort of a template when I'm doing my heartbeat setup service. And we're just going to go into admin settings. All right, so first you have user roles, okay? And these are the access permissions assigned to people based on whatever role you want to give them. They can only have one role. So you as a community manager, you are probably the administrator. You may have some moderators that help you moderate your community, and they will have a different set of permissions. And then you also have users. I like to rename this member. You can do that right here, or you can give them a different name that's branded to your community, something that you call all of your members. So this would encompass everybody, whether they're free or paid, it doesn't matter. These are all people who are not admins and mods, okay? And you can use these roles to issue permissions to various areas of your community. Okay, another thing that you need to understand is how groups work. So groups are also an access point. These are access groups. They are not a location. If you're familiar with Facebook as you're coming into Heartbeat, you might think the group is like the location of your people. It's not really quite like that. Groups is more of an access permission. Okay, and when you are creating a group, you'll tell it different things like whether or not people can see the group and join it at any time, or whether the admin has to control who's in the group. If it's automated, that means like the group automatically, or they automatically get added to the group based on certain criteria. Maybe like you might have a group that functions as a badge for someone who's highly engaged. They have different templates here, such as like power user, right? This is someone that's posted in the last year at least 25 times. You can edit all these things. This isn't a tutorial on that though. You can also, there we go. Okay, you can also designate if it is a badge, meaning it's going to show up right next to their name when they post or comment, or if it's hidden, and that means that only admins and mods can see it. So for example, you can have an automated group for people that are kind of slipping away. They're not very engaged. They haven't come into your community in a while or haven't posted in a while. You don't necessarily want everyone to see who's slipping away. And so you would hide that. There's also default, meaning it shows up on your bio, but it's not necessarily a badge right next to your name. Okay. You can also choose if the group is isolated, which will help you to sort of isolate certain members from other members. It doesn't necessarily completely block them from seeing each other in every single aspect of your community, though. That's a subject for another video. Okay. I'm not going to save this. All right, so once you understand that, now what you need to understand is that as you are creating all of the different content within your community, you need to tell it who has access to that content. So for example, I have these sort of generic channels at the top, these threads. And so like the start here, intros, announcements, a general discussion, a questions area. These types of channels you may want to have everybody in your community see. There are a couple of ways to do that. I'm just going to click the three dots and click edit here. So you'll see right here where it says set as default channel. If this is on, everybody, no matter what their role, no matter what their group, is going to automatically have access to this when they come into your community and forever and ever, unless you change this. Okay. So that is the easiest way to just say, like, even free people coming into my community, they're going to have access to this channel. Alternatively, you could go in here, turn that off, and pick and choose who you want. So you might say admins, moderators, and users, which would be everybody else. So that would actually cover everyone. You don't have to do it that way though. Like I said, you can just set it as a default channel. If you want only certain paid group members to have access to this channel, this is where you would do it. You would pick your paid. So in this example, premium would be my paid group. So I'm going to say admins and maybe moderators, and only premium members can see this channel. Okay. Let's switch it back to how I had it. Okay. The way that you set something up as paid is in your admin settings. And I'm not going to give a full tour or demo on the products, but once you have Stripe set up, I don't have that set up in my demo community yet, but you will have access to create paid products, which is essentially just attaching that you want people to make a payment in order to have access to a specific group. Okay, so then as you're creating these threads, as I just showed you, you would then designate, so for example, this is for my demo course, you would designate that only demo course group members should have access to that. What that's going to mean is when they try to join the demo course group, then they'll pay, and then they will get access to this channel, as well as any admins and mods. I always try to give admins and mods access to pretty much everything. You can kind of pick and choose if you don't need your mods accessing your entire community. Okay, also inside courses, you're going to just designate that as you're setting up the course. And this is the brand new courses area, but you'll see right here it says set as paid, and you'll just work through the settings there. If it's not a paid course, you can also designate who has access, or if people are paying outside of your community somehow, and then they need to have access in here without using Heartbeat payments, this is where you would use that option, offer free access. It just means that they're not paying through Heartbeat, whether it's free or paid elsewhere, irrelevant. They have to be a member of this group, okay, in order to access it. So in my case, it's demo group. Right now I have that set up as free access. You could make that paid. Docs are similar. You're just going to go to the doc section, hit edit, make sure that only admins and possibly moderators have edit access. And then instead of user, if you want it to be a paid area, then you would go ahead and change that to you would cross that out and change that to whoever, like demo course. Again, you could just turn off limit access, but I think you want to limit the access so that you're the only one who can edit the doc, the admins and the moderators, right? So you want to definitely designate that there. Events will be similar. You're just going to go in and set who has access to that event. It's all based on what group they're in and or what user role they have. So, oops. I don't know what that's doing. Okay, let's see, next. So right here, by default, it's putting the event out to all users, meaning all users can be invited to it or see it. And that may not be what you want. Maybe you want to hold an event for only your course members or something like that. Okay, and then the other aspect of this that's important that you need to understand, like how do people get into these groups? It's going to start with the invitation links, okay? So the invitation links are right here in your admin area. And you're just going to send them whatever invitation link gives them access to what you want to have them to have access to. So if you are, let me go back to threads, for example, setting some default channels, meaning everyone has access, doesn't matter what role they're in and whatnot, then I would just make sure you have an invitation link for user. And that will be your free link. And you may not give them access to any other groups. If you want them to have access to a few more groups to start out with right when they come into the community, you'll just edit that and let's see, customize, I believe. Nope, I always pick the wrong one. Let's go back. You're going to do update. And you'll pick and choose what groups you want them to have access to for this user role, or if you rename it member, then make it for your member role. Okay. And then when you want to invite someone to your paid group, you're going to use an invitation link that gives them access to just that paid group and the user role. Now, in my community, when I set it up originally, and I really didn't need to do this, but it's just how I did it, I created a group intended to be for all my entire community, free or paid, doesn't matter. And I called them Ninjapreneurs, which goes with my branding. You don't need to do it that way. You can just use that user role and just rename that to what you want. You don't have to do it the way I did. But if you did do it the way I did, you would have this link, this paid link, also include your free group. So like this one, I have a members group apparently in this demo course area or demo community. And so you would give them access to the paid group and your free group if you have one. Okay, so I think that's it. I hope that explains it for you. You're just going to go in and make sure you're creating the proper access, permissions on your user role and creating the groups that you want, creating the monetization that you want. Make sure you have invitations that give people access to the different permissions you want them to have. And make sure that all of your content has the proper designations on it so that people are seeing the right things. The only other thing that's really helpful actually is when you go to manage groups, you have this groups overview link up here now. And it's going to show you what people can see. So if you've messed up in some way, you will have a pretty quick way to be able to tell. So for example, I'm going to go to demo course. This will show you that they have special access to the demo course chat. If I saw that under here, under user or under members, for example, I would know I messed that up because only demo course members are supposed to have access to that. So that would be a quick way for you to know what you need to go in and edit and fix. And if you have any other questions, please just let me know and I will do my best to help you. I do have a whole heartbeat playlist in my YouTube channel. So if you have more heartbeat questions, feel free to look through there and see if maybe I've already posted the answer for you. All right, bye.